Hi everyone, welcome to Saturday Noon Live with Tara. We are live on Facebook, we're live um, on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram. Hi everyone. Do join in. Come one and all. I am so confused about what works on social media now. I had it all, I thought, figured out, being very authentic and organic. Really, much as I have an amazing team for the Tara Sharma Show, for social media, I was always doing everything myself, and I am. And now, this whole constant sort of focus on reels, I don't know if our regular conversations that we've always had on the Tara Sharma Show, on our lives, I don't know if those get as much traction, but either way, staying true to myself, walking the talk of staying authentic, much as I do dabble in my reels now and then, I've decided I'm just going to stick with what I know and what I do, and hopefully, that'll lead to good results in every way. So on that note, this actually brings me to the topic that I wanted to talk about today, and it's something that's been on my mind a lot, not just as parents, but of course now that our kids are older. Our kids are now 13 and 11. So as I mentioned last time, in many ways I've stopped doing all the interviews and chats and stuff that I did on the Tara Sharma Show at the start, because dealing with baby and toddler issues and conversations and topics is very different. So while every age is so special and so amazing and has its topics, I think I'm just navigating this phase. And as I've always said, I'm no expert. I'm learning as I go along. And one of the things I love the best about our Tara Sharma Show and all these lives that we've been doing, is that it's really our show. So it's as much mine as yours, and I'd love to hear your views. So on that note, hi Ashish, hi Saurabh, hi Dark Freed. Good morning, everyone who's joined us. So lovely to have you all here. So I would love to hear your views on what I put as the title, whether we as parents should be encouraging all rounders when it comes to the kids, or whether we should be encouraging them to do all kinds of different things, or whether we at a young age should be encouraging them to specialize. बिल्कुल मैं यही कह रही थी ऑफिशियल अस्कर हुसैन कि पेरेंट्स, हम जो है पेरेंट्स, माँ बाप अपने बच्चे को क्या बताना चाहिए कि सब कुछ मतलब अलग अलग चीजें कोशिश करके सब कुछ ट्राई करना, बी एन ऑल राउंडर। जैसे अगर आप स्पोर्ट खेलते हैं तो सारे स्पोर्ट्स खेलना, या तो हमको कम उम्र में क्या हमको बताना चाहिए कि नहीं बस एक ही पे फोकस करना। मैं बस ये पूछ रही हूँ क्योंकि कभी-कभी मैं सोचती हूँ कि बचपन में हमें काफ़ी मतलब कहलाते थे कि सब कुछ कोशिश करना, मतलब सब कुछ ट्राई करना है। इफ यू आर एन एकेडमिक किड, अब अगर आप पढ़ाई में अच्छे हो, तो वो तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, बट स्पोर्ट्स भी करना, ड्रामा भी करना, ये भी करना, वो भी करना। और मेरे ख्याल से जब हम बच्चे थे तो काफ़ी फ़ोकस था ऑल-राउंडर पे। और मैं तो हर रोज़ कहती हूँ, अगर बचपन से किसी को पता है उनको क्या बनना है, बच्चों को क्या बनना है, और वही पाथ पे वो लोग जाते हैं, तो शायद उनके लिए अच्छा है, पर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग को पता तो नहीं है। मैं तो मेरे ख़्याल से मैं तो काफ़ी एकेडमिक थी, बट मुझे बहुत सारी चीज़ें करनी थी। मैं स्पोर्ट्स में भी मेरा इंटरेस्ट था, एक्टिंग में भी था, तो मैं बहुत सारी अलग-अलग चीज़ों में मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्ट था। तो अभी भी एज़ एन एडल्ट आल्सो I have interests in lots of different things, and sometimes I feel that people who have very specialized and focused, is it easier for them because they just have that one path that they want to pursue and they just go for it? But then, or is that harder because maybe they don't have the other options? um, so I think it just depends on each to their own. हाँ ऑफिशियल मैं तो हिंदी में बोलती हूँ, बट मैं तो साउथ बॉम्बे की हूँ और मैं आधा अंग्रेजी हूँ। तो मैं हर रोज यही कहती हूँ, मेरी माँ अंग्रेजी है इंग्लैंड से, सो आई एम हाफ इंडियन एंड हाफ इंग्लिश, सो आई डेफिनेटली स्पीक हिंदी, बट या माय फर्स्ट लैंग्वेज इज वेरी मच इंग्लिश, एंड आई डोंट shy away from saying that. I know it's been a much talked about debate in India about speaking Hindi and speaking Marathi and speaking English. I don't shy away from saying that I'm most comfortable in English. And I definitely speak Hindi and I would love to speak more. But yeah, this platform is primarily in English, but of course, I also speak in Hindi now and then. Hi, Shekhar. Great to have you all here. Oops, suddenly my thing went big. So, yeah, so what do you guys think about this? And I'm going to invite a few people on. I know, not everyone on this platform necessarily is a parent. And why don't you do a special segment with Neeraj Chopra? Musician Jen says, I would love to. And in fact, over the years on the Tara Sharma Show, and I hope all of you watch our episodes, they're all on the Tara Sharma Show YouTube channel. Um, Over the years, I've interviewed lots of sports people, right from Virat Kohli to Jasprit Bumrah to Rohit Sharma. And I found, and Sunil Chetri, and I found that in fact, Chetri told me that he started playing football with his mother. And I always laugh and tell our kids that, look, I'm also mom. Like Rupak and me play a lot of football with them. And now, yesterday, Kai won man of the match in his Mumbai Football Association tournament. And it was amazing because he's been playing with the Barca elite squad, which is fantastic. And he goes like, about an hour and a half or an hour at least 4 days a week back and forth. So about 2-3 hours in the car to play football because he's so passionate about it. And I always think of what all these huge sports people used to say, that it's all about hard work, perseverance, persistence. And sports seems to have that path. If you really work hard, if you stick with it, if you persist, of course it's, one in a million, but there's a path. Whereas in some other industries, there's not necessarily a path. Like with acting, you can work really, really hard and you may or may not make it. So I just wonder, as parents, what we should be teaching our kids. And none of us are experts, none of us know the answer. But is it good to try everything, to be able to do a little bit of everything, or is it better to just focus on something and be an expert at it? So please share your thoughts. I'd love to hear. I know some of the top sports people who spoke with us, even some of them had different views. So it was interesting. Some of them said that if you're a good sports person, most often you're good at most sports. So some of them loved, football and cricket, for example, and then at a certain age decided to pick one. If I'm truly honest, I'm not saying that our kids are some, potential professional sports people. I don't know, but I do know that, they've also played all sports. They play a bit of all sports, but at a certain age, our younger one, for example, decided to just focus on football. So, although he was always good at the others as well. So these are the questions that I feel as parents, it's interesting and we grapple with, because I sometimes feel, even at my age, although I went to London School of Economics, I went on a scholarship to UWC, I worked, I've done 18 to 20 films, I've been in, I have my own TV show and all that. I still often feel like I'm starting at the start. Honestly, every week almost, it's like, okay, now what is the new job, what is the new project? If I start a new season of my show, it feels like the beginning again. If I invite guests, when you say, why don't you call Neeraj Chopra, I would love to, but I have to do it, Neeraj. It's not a show that someone else does all that for me and says just come and host it. So I have to get the sponsors after. And I know I've said this many times, but I sometimes wonder, what if I had just focused and stuck with just my finance career, but then I would have had regrets. I wouldn't have done all the things that I want to do in life. And takes me to this amazing TED talk I watched on multi-potentiality. I'm not trying to self-praise myself and say that I'm a multi-potentialist. I'm not, but I want to reassure some of you, parents and kids, if you feel that you have a lot of different interests and you're actually quite good at many different things, sometimes that can be an amazing gift and sometimes it can make you super confused. I talk about this because when I saw that TED talk, I actually got teary. I got teary because I was like, oh my God, I see so much of, I feel so much of myself in that talk, because it's actually defined as different, diverse interests could be viable career options. And I was like, it's not just about having an interest, it's about being able to take it to a career. And for me, like, yes, career I had in the corporate world, finance, IT consulting, it's a pretty hardcore thing. It's not just something you dabble in. But I gave that up. And then I came and I tried to, act in Hindi films. And that's a huge change. But I did it because in my head, I was like, passion is one thing, but it has to earn me money. It has to be practical. So it was a career. It is a career. I am, still acting in films and I have my own show, which is also a career. So, and I do yoga a lot. And now I'm, doing classes in it. So I'm doing a little bit of different things, but I don't feel like a success. Like I've made it in something. And does that make me a bit of a floozy, or does that make me just someone who has different interests? So I tell you all this because I think, there are many kids who don't know. And as parents, you encourage, but at the same time, you don't know when you have to kind of say, okay, now focus. When you decide what you want to study in university, for example, it's confusing. Most often you're 18, maybe have so many interests. How do you zero in? So, all this, I'd love to hear your views. So, is there anyone here who'd like to contribute to this conversation? Okay, Akshay Singh, which is the favorite movie you've acted in. So, I know I have an audience of a mixed audience. Um, so for me, all my films have been special to me. But of course, some did okay, some did not so great, some did really well. So I have to say, I get a little influenced by that. So the ones that did, yeah, so the ones that did really well, like Ghosla, Page 3, Masti, those ones I, tend to remember more. But all of them have been special to me. Bardasht, Maharathi, a lot of them. So do check them out. Hi, superstar gamers. Hi, ma'am. 9797, start with next exercises and yoga with Tara. This is Saturday noon live with Tara. I know it's very confusing, but just to let you know. No Vijayat, no haircut. Okay. I'm going to actually try and go live with Musician Jen, because if you have a name like Musician Jen, thank you, Pranay. In Khosla Ka Ghosla, your acting was superb. Thank you. Nitish Meena says how to focus on your aims. Exactly. Um, it's difficult to focus sometimes when you have different interests. So, but sometimes you have to just focus. So, like I look at my younger son, and to be honest, if I'm truly honest, a few of his previous matches, he was on the bench. Okay. Me and Rupak don't believe in interfering with the coaches. We felt they know what they're doing, we're not going to interfere. But obviously, as a parent, you sit there, you stand there in the heat for 5 hours, you kind of want to watch your own kid play also. So deep down, I was feeling a little like, okay, is this really worth it? He spends like more than 15 hours a week going and coming and playing football, if not more. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I? And then I just listened to him. He was like, Mama, this is part of the game. This is part of the He wasn't as upset about it as I was. He was teaching me that part of focusing on something is, yes, playing and really, giving it everything and doing your best. But part of it is also waiting, seeing it through, going slow, not always achieving, and even sitting on the bench. And it really was an eye opener to me, because yesterday, when he did well in a match, I realized that it does pay. Hard work, persistence, perseverance. My grandfather, my Dadaji, always used to say, persistence, perseverance, and hard work. So I think you just have to focus. I'm not very good at it because, like, as you know, I'm doing a movie, I'm doing a bit of this, a bit of that, yoga, Tara Sharma Show. So, yeah, sometimes you just have to focus. Tanash says, my boy is very stubborn and disobedient and slow. Focus issue as well. Please suggest. Tanash, again, I'm not an expert, but from my experience, firstly, what age is your child? Because I think kids, from what I'm observing, there are different phases. And now that our kids are in the teen and tween zone, it's very different to when they were younger. I think if they find something they like, they enjoy, then more often than not, they'll be self motivated. If you try and force something onto them, I don't think that ever really works. Having said that, I do think parents, I'm not a big, I don't believe that you just let kids be. I think you have to give them a little bit of direction. And if we as parents don't, who will? Um, Roshan says, you really motivate us. Keep going. Believe in yourself. You have a lot to achieve. That's very kind of you, Roshan. I don't always believe in myself. And I think that's a very good line. Also, to Tanash's point, that if your kid finds something they enjoy and they start believing in themselves, they will achieve. I've learned this again and again from my younger son. I taught me this because he stayed focused. He didn't let it upset him that he wasn't playing those matches. He was just sitting for a part of it, for quite a big part. But eventually, like, he played and he got man of the match. So I was like, I said, okay, now, we realize that they know what they're doing and they believe in themselves. That's very important. And you, as parents, need to believe in them. I believe every child is a superstar in their own way. And when one child achieves at something, when you have siblings, often the other child makes sure nothing goes to their head. No, don't think you're too great, huh? Don't think you're this, don't think you're that. So also quite important, and I'm no expert, but from my own experience, it's quite important not to compare. You know, oh look, your brother's good at this and you're not, or you're good at this and your brother's not, whatever. No, because every child has their own way in which they shine, and I think and their time. And I think it's really important as parents. It's not always easy, just like I said last time. It's not always easy to stay calm. People think I'm a calm person. If they were a fly on the wall, they would see me like a monster also. So I think sometimes you can say all this, but sometimes in the moment and the heat of the moment, you can say some nasty things. Hi, Suman. I was actually waiting for you to come because this was a topic you wanted to talk about last week. So I'm just checking where I saw you, Suman. I would love to hear your views too, because you, in fact, reminded me to talk about this. Hi, David. Hi, thank you, Tanash. Thanks for suggesting. I saw you, Suman, but now I'm not able to see you. So if you're there, then do say hi and maybe I can take you onto the live. I am going to go live with a few people in just a moment. So I will go live with Suman. Starting with Suman, I feel like I know you. Every child has unique qualities. Anuradha is saying, I have two daughters and my students are all superstars in one or the other thing. Absolutely. I completely agree. Hi, Suman. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Radha. I'm good. How are you? So good to see.
Very good to see you too. It's really lovely to see you. And for those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, please also join Instagram, Tara Sharma Saruja. We have some lovely guests that we just pick randomly. But Suman, of course, has been in touch and sent me very encouraging, very kind messages for which I'm really grateful, I must say. And last week we touched upon this whole, should we encourage our kids to try different things or should we focus on something? So what are your views on that?
Definitely, Tara. This is one topic that I want your views and expert advice and everything because
I'm
I'm
not an
also
expert.
struggling with the same.
I'm not an expert.
I know, but you really help us out. Really, 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 really.
Thank you, that's very kind. So what do you feel about it? Your kids, you said, are 10 years
uh,
old and 9 months, right? So you've got a different age range.
yeah, 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 pretty huge age gap. So the elder one, I would say that this is the same thing that I have been going through because what I feel is that we need to, if we can, depends on everybody's economic or social and other backgrounds, etc. We need to expose our kids to different varieties, be it sports or academics or let's say Olympiads or anything, whatever they are interested in. So by introducing them and by observing them, we can understand that whether they are interested in that thing or not. Some students or some kids are not interested in much of studies. They're good in sports. Few are good in arts and not studies or sports anything. So we need to expose them as parents. I believe that it's our duties so that we can expose them to as many things as we can and then analyze what is their area of interest and then we can let them pursue in that. But with my experience, because whenever I have put my son into anything, somehow he's good in almost all the things. So I'm like, what to do now? Because then should I shuffle to the next one or should I stick to that one? I'm not sure. But then due to COVID conditions and all, I had to shuffle myself because everybody got affected. So his sports classes, let's say, got affected. He was much into skating and badminton and stuff. But then it got stopped. So then, we have this platform of online classes and all. So I put him into factors because he's good in maths and then now in chess. So I think sometimes we need to flow with the wind, wherever it is taking us, and whatever we can do we need to do that, and let us let's analyze our kids, what are they interested in, and then I'm sure if there is something they want to pick it up, they will pick it up later on.
That's a very good.
Can push them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I remember a very, very renowned swimming teacher who taught our kids. Tragically, she's passed away now, but she actually said this to me. She said, let them do a little bit of everything when they're young. As parents, expose them to different things and then let them see what they enjoy. But I'm very interested that you mentioned how your son tends to be good at most things. And I know as parents, that sounds a little arrogant. You don't like to tell people because it sounds like you're showing off. But believe me, after I watched this TED talk on multipotentiality, I realized, it can be a blessing, but it can also be a very confusing thing. Because when I look back at my childhood, I was a little like that. I was the head girl of school. I got the highest in school in the ICSE, but I was also doing ads with Shahrukh and, dancing around trees. So I was like, kind of like, okay, should I do this or should I do that? Should I sit in the office? And I know I can do the finance stuff, but I kind of find it boring. Or should I do that? So at some point I felt like it made me more confused because I was like, I wasn't able to like really focus. And when I read this, the reason I keep mentioning it is because it can look like you're not you're not focusing, you're not sticking to something, you're chopping and changing. It can look like that, but it might actually mean that you are somebody who wants to try different things. And it can, like, you have to deal with that. And I say this because at a young age most kids want to try everything, and I always think of those few kids who really know what they want and they stick with it, and then even some adults who just only want to do one thing and they become so good at it. In a way I feel that's wow, but it takes all kinds of people in the world and all kinds of children, and I think that's what makes it beautiful. And I guess as parents our job is to support them, when they with whatever they choose. And some things are just for recreation and fun. So like, I always feel grateful that I can play tennis. My parents encourage me. I'm not great at it, but I can always, like, meet a friend in some random country and play a game of tennis, for example. So there's some things you do just to be able to do, or play a little chess. Like, not everything is to take it forward. Some things are just to give you a little bit of, I mean, what is a personality, right? A personality is having the ability to interact and be able to have different dimensions, I guess, so that you're not just one track. So I think, yeah, but it's so interesting because all these things are there are no right and wrong, and there are some parents like who are so focused, and it's easy to say, oh my god, why are they like that? But I guess everyone has their own view and circumstance. It also depends on the kid. So like, when I look at our younger one, literally he goes, I would say he spends at least 6 to 7 or 8 hours a week just in transport to get to his football. But he's so passionate about it that that doesn't bother him, so it also comes from the kid. I think if they are into it. An older one would not want to do that. He would try everything, be good at it, but he would just say, I'm not going to sit and waste my time, in a car. You know what I mean? So everybody is different. But
Everybody's different, but definitely, Tara, I can certainly relate it to you because even as you're confused, I'm also confused the same way because professionally, I'm an IT professional, but I didn't think so that I wanted to be. I was pretty much into arts and all those stuff. So whatever came in front of me, I just went with the flow and reached wherever I am.
yeah.
So it's like we are not able to decide what actually we are in that way. Which
Yeah.
career to choose, or it's like sometimes, and then at times we have to give it a rest. That okay, fine, let it be.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Sometimes it's it's best to not think too much in that way.
Absolutely. And that's why they say when you get really busy with something, you don't have time to do all this thinking, you know? So for
Yeah.
me, like when I'm in, when my show is on and I'm working on the season and all, I don't start thinking of all these other things. For me, all this starts happening when I'm in between stuff. So sometimes I feel like that's what they say, right? When you have, not in a bad way, but an idle mind is a devil's workshop. When you have time to think, you'll think of all kinds of things. But
Absolutely not in our hands.
but having said that, life, you have one life, at least that we know of. So you don't also want to have regrets. And for someone like me, for example,
Yeah.
I've always felt that more than passion, I'm driven by a desire not to have regrets. I never want to feel I should have done that or this. So, you know what I mean? So I think that's something.
I can totally get you that. I don't know. That has been my funda that, whenever, I die, it should not be like, oh, I've not done this. Or, like I want to do everything, whatever I can. Want to do
Absolutely.
whatever
Yeah.
I can. This.
I agree. And that's what, like, I sometimes look back and that's what made me come to act. I gave up a
Yeah.
really well paying job in IT consulting, oddly enough. And but it was because I knew I don't want to wake up at like 90 and say, oh, I wish I had danced on that, been on that screen. But so lovely chatting. Once again, thank you for all your encouragement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tara. Since you have said, just look at the diary. I've been maintaining what all topics I need to discuss.
Wow, that's so amazing. So we'll do something for sure. I will try and get season 6 of the Tara Sharma Show back on. As I said again, this I think it's a bit of an excuse on my part, but what happens is I start saying, "Acha, now I'm doing a movie. I'm in the middle of the Archies. I won't be able to shoot the show. I'll wait." So I give myself these little excuses, but I think time has come to get back. So I will consider it. But I'm so glad that till the actual big show is back, we have all these platforms because we can always even do a topic every week that might help people or just help all of us as well. So we can explore that too. But thank you so much. Bye. Take
Thank you,
care.
Tara.
Bye.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.
So everyone on Facebook and YouTube, thank you as well for joining. I know you can only hear the audio of what we're doing on Insta, but that was a lovely guest on Insta. So check it out. I'm going to now invite a couple more before I go. So I'll say bye. Bye. See you. Let me see. Okay, I've got Pooja here saying she has two kids who are boys and they're almost the same age. Every time both fight, what can I do? My gosh, welcome to my world. We have two boys who are less than 2 years apart. They love each other, they're great companions to each other, but they fight like mad. I'm one of two sisters, and me and my sister fought like mad, even though we're very close. So I think that's just what siblings do. So don't worry. I read a post about where it said that parents should try not to get involved in kids' fights because you never want to like say one is better than the other. Why are you doing this to her or this to him? Try as far as possible, as long as they're not like beating each other up, to let them figure it out. But yeah, it's part and parcel. And the interesting thing though is those fights, as much as they look like really hardcore, most often they're quickly forgotten. But I think that's just part of siblings. It's an amazing bond, and the companionship and all is great, but the fights are huge. And I remember Oduna Akhtar at the time, Babani now. I mean, her maiden name is Babani. She had once told me that she felt like a referee as a mother, always managing fights. So I think it's kind of natural. But Pooja, good luck with that. And okay, so who else would like to share something on this topic? Milind Moharil says millennials don't have one ambition. They are brought up seeing drastic changes all around. So trying different things are a must. Absolutely, Milind. And it's interesting you say that because sometimes I feel I'm a millennial who was born a bit earlier. Because I also have lots of different interests. Uh, but yeah, I think that's a very good point. So I'm going to try and bring you into the live. Let's see if I'm able to. And Sometimes I ask people to come on the live and then in the middle of something else. So please feel free to tell me if you're not able to. Anjum, I think you can actually click the cross on your screen because I think you're still here. So I'm trying to. I think you put your video off. Anuradha says, "Will you also have some career counseling on this platform?" How sweet, Anuradha. I'm no expert. I am not a counselor and I'm not a psychiatrist and I'm not anything except just a regular mom who's trying to figure things out. But 100% Anuradha, I'm happy to talk about all this anytime because honestly, if it helps you or anyone else, trust me, it also helps me. So I'm happy to chat about all this anytime. Let me see who we can invite now. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Milind isn't able to join. Okay. Let us see who else we can have. Anjum, I think you can put you can just press the cross because you still seem to be there. So I don't think I can invite anyone else. Hi, Ashish. Shehnaz on YouTube is saying, "Hey, ma'am, my kids don't eat well. They avoid eating vegetables and fish, fruits, etc. What's the solution?" Again, I'm not an expert, but I would suggest try and make the food fun. That's what we used to be told when they're little. It's difficult to do sometimes, but if they don't like something, don't force it, but try and make it in a way that they do like. Should we focus more on what our child does or what the child is becoming, Roshan? So it's a very good point because you want your kids to enjoy what they do, but also life is tough and you know that you want them to eventually have good careers and good incomes. Let's face it, that is a very practical reality of life. Much as you can say, I love this and I love that, you also need to earn. So it is an interesting point. Do you mean that in a career context or do you mean that as a personality thing? As in, do you mean that should we focus on what the child is doing or what they're becoming as a personality or as a career? Because I think that's an interesting question and I'm not so sure either. I think as you get older and once they decide what they want to study, and then I think it's about the career and which way they're going. But like for example with sport, like I have no clue. I don't know if our younger one wants to become a footballer or what. Right now we're going with the flow with this passion and this hopefully talent. And but I don't know where it's going exactly, but we're going with it. So some people have that very clear path in their mind, but some may not. Arba, let me try and go live. I'm just trying to. I go live with 3 people randomly selected every Saturday. Let's see if this works. No, it doesn't seem to be working. Pranay says kids are getting addicted. Tap to answer. Pranay says kids are getting addicted to online games. What to do? Pranay, I completely agree. As always, the reason that I have this interactive platform is we're all going through very similar things often, right? And this online has become huge ever since lockdown. So while we all know lockdown was a very difficult time, there were goods and bads, pros and cons, online became much bigger. And while that helped us with having online school, it also has left behind the hangover of online games. And you can't just suddenly tell the kids, don't you dare touch a gadget after they've been living on them and having their play dates on them and everything. So it is tricky. I would say try and get them interested in some other things too. I'm no expert. While I'm talking to you, one of my kids is sitting on the gadget playing chess. Now, earlier, I would have freaked out. Too much screen time. But then you also look at what they're doing on the gadget. Something like chess, I kind of feel is good. So I'm not as strict about it. Earlier, we used to have very strict timings for online, and we still try and have some time restrictions. But if you actually see them doing something productive, once again, as Milind said, moving with the times, this is the way of the world. So I don't think you can completely stop the screen, but maybe limit the timing and try and identify what is it that they're doing on the screen. I think that That's important. Online games also, some are actually quite educative and helpful, some are totally not. So I think that's very much something to look at too. Um, uh, hi, hi Raghav, Unlimited Raghav, you are awesome. How do you comment on the current trend of Bollywood boycott? You think this will go? I think, I hope it goes, because I think any judgment on people, on hardworking industries or anybody is really unnecessary. I think everyone's trying their best. And personally, I feel, I've never been a fan of judging anyone unless you know all the situation and circumstance, and not just for the sake of it. So I hope all that stops, and I hope people are able to appreciate other people's um, hard work, successes. And if you don't like something, you don't have to go for it, or you don't have to watch it, but you don't have to boycott. So, yeah, I think I'm not a big fan of that, but thank you for raising that. I think, all these things, it's so important. I always look at it from the eyes of a parent. Like, what do we want our kids to learn? You want your kids to learn about freedom of speech, freedom of expression. My father in the 60s wrote a play called A Touch of Brightness, which was about the red light district in India. It was the first play to be selected for the Edinburgh Festival. And when they were at the airport, their passports were impounded because of censorship. The play was banned. And my father and the whole troupe was very, very disappointed. Subsequently, the then Solicitor General of India, Soli Sorabji, and my dad's dear friend, Iqbal Chagla, and all of them fought the case pro bono and won. So I'm mentioning all this because it was about freedom of speech. It was about holding, as long as you're not harming anyone, sticking to what you believe, and not having boycotts and censorship and all in the same way. Okay, guys, let me see who else I can go live with, because I'm going to have to let you guys go now. It's a Saturday. I'm sure everyone's really busy and got things to do. Um, Let me see if anyone's able to come live. Otherwise, I'll say bye bye. Not able to take people live. I don't know. No. Okay. Who wants to come on live? Send me a request and I will take you on the live. Um, no, I'm not able to. Let's see. And hi, Neerav. Great to have you here. मैम आप यूट्यूब पर बातें नहीं करते हो. मुझे यूट्यूब पे भी करना है, बट यूट्यूब लाइव मैं कैसे करूं? मुझे सीखना है. प्लीज कोई तो मुझे सिखा दो और मैं जरूर करूंगी. Okay, I think nobody else is able to join the live, so I think I'll let you guys go. Life learning not coming through. Sorry, guys. But thank you, as always, so much for joining. It's, as I mentioned, it's as helpful to me as it may be to you. Or it might just be you guys laughing at this mad woman talking, talking, talking. I don't know. Not able to go live. Sorry. Don't know why. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to let you go. I think I've taken up too much of your time. Okay, guys, have a fab day. Oh, hi, Shreya. How are you?
Hi, Tara. I'm good. How are you?
Very good. So you're a dancer.
I am. I've been a Kathak dancer all my life, but I'm trying to learn belly dance and just having fun with it.
Wow. So tell us, because we've been talking about as parents, when do you tell your kids kind of to specialize, or how much do you encourage them to try different things? So what you do is something very different. So was this always an interest when you were a kid as well, or how did it happen?
It was not an interest specifically in belly dance because I don't think I was ever exposed to like the Middle East or any of those cultures in terms of dance,
Yeah.
and especially not in the right way. And I learned only like a year ago or something that belly dance is just an anglicized word for a dance called Raqs Sharki,
Oh.
which is actually a Middle Eastern classical dance form.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, and actually done very gracefully. It actually matches a lot with Kathak, so it helps to sort of have that base.
Wow.
But it's been really enlightening, yeah. And actually, I don't have kids yet, but telling my mom-in-law was really scary. Trying to explain that to her. So, but it's like when I learned something new, I shared with my family, with my in-laws, and now I'm trying to share it through Instagram, script that event that it was not done for the pleasure of men. Like I'm sure all men in the world would like to believe, most men. It was done actually as a fertility exercise taught to women back then.
Wow, but that's amazing, and I love these chats because you never know what you're going to learn. I'm sitting here at home in Rupak study space, and I'm talking to you, teaching me about what belly dancing is and how it originated, and it is and what it's not, and that's amazing. But tell me something, because it's a kind of different career path, and we're talking about careers and what you should encourage your kids and not, because as parents, trust me, at least I'm very confused, and I feel like that about myself. I still feel like, what am I? I'm a little bit of an actor, I'm a little bit of this, I'm a little bit of a business person, I'm a little bit of a entrepreneur, I'm a little bit of a show creator. So what did you kind of want to do when you were a kid, and did your parents encourage you to do a whole lot of stuff, or were you focusing on dance at a young age, or how did it happen?
So to be very honest,
I'm just showing people on YouTube that we have a guest on Insta, so that you guys can join as well on Insta. Yeah. Well, my mom says wonderful to interact with so many different people and ideas and learning from everyone. Yeah, mom, it's amazing sitting here at home. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, say hi to the folks on YouTube. But what I was trying to say was, as growing up in India, like I was just part of like a very humble family, and the main focus at that time is not to explore your passions. It's literally to earn a living.
Absolutely.
That's it. So I think I realized that I was really into dance from a very early age, and my parents encouraged me and drove me pretty much every day to Kathak Kendra, which was really far away from where I was.
Yeah.
They did everything to give wind to my wings in some way, but they made sure that I was also pursuing a path which would stabilize me, so to say, give me that financial freedom. And I'm actually also a principal product manager at Expedia Group. I'm from Seattle. So I do that as a full time. And honestly, Tara, until I was financially stable, I wasn't truly able to explore the arts. So, but I think the next generation may not really think about just the financial freedom aspect of it. I think the next generation of kids would want to pursue their passion full time, and thankfully Instagram allows for that.
That's a fabulous way of putting it, because I think financial security is a huge reason for what people choose. So while we're all talking about the confusion of options and different passions, that in itself is a luxury, right? And as we've all heard this being said many a time, as much as we shouldn't judge anyone. Even having privilege doesn't mean that you don't have confusions and issues, right? People tend to think that acha, they've got money, so they don't have any problem. But no, there are, everybody is entitled to have their own reasons for being confused or whatever. But having said that, there is no doubt that when you have to earn, then sometimes you don't let your mind go all over the place. But the minute you are able to be financially secure, maybe that's when you can start exploring the passions. That's why whenever I talk about it and people ask me, how did you leave this corporate job to go into this? I always say that for someone like me, it was always a mix of passion and practicality. I always had to earn. And frankly, there was a time when I would actually try and balance it. I would try to say, if I'm going to act in films or if I'm going to do an ad, it has to earn as much as it would be if I was in the office. It didn't always
Yes.
happen like that. But even till today, while I talk about doing this or that, I don't even touch making my show till I have my sponsors and all, because I'm by nature very cautious and I know I need to have money and earn. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the people around me also know I get stressed when I don't earn. So it
Yeah.
is sometimes people choose to stick in very corporate and safe careers, even if they have other passions, because they prefer the security. And I think that's something that you have to balance as a person, the person you are.
Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
I think
Yeah.
for me, the first few years of acting, the hardest part was struggling with the uncertainty. And some
Yeah.
people can't do it. They'd rather keep their passions as a hobby and say, chalo, we'll do
Yeah.
that passion when we retire. But let's have that
Exactly.
stability first. So I think it's really important, and to teach kids that too. If you have the kind of child
Yeah.
who needs that security, and if they themselves know
Yes.
that about themselves,
Agreed.
and you're right, while today's day and age allows you to pursue different things, let me tell you,
Yeah.
and I'm saying this on Instagram, while Instagram
Yes.
and all these things are wonderful platforms, they are
Yeah.
platforms where algorithms change. Now, for
Yes.
example, a live like this would have attracted a lot more people before reels became popular. We
Absolutely.
can't
You're
depend on
right.
things like this. And that's
You're
why
right.
I feel so grateful that I really, you know I feel grateful that I own my content, I own my show, but I still feel so worried that where will it sit? Where does it go? Because tomorrow Instagram may suddenly say no more lives, or. So you
Yeah.
have to figure it
Yeah.
out. It's as much
Yeah.
as it gives you more options, it's sometimes even more confusing. you know?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You need to evolve yourself constantly. It doesn't stop.
It's
In a
exhausting.
stable job, yeah, in a stable job, you probably need to do it much less. But
Yeah,
in competitive fields like these, yeah, it's really tough. But
yeah,
you're right. It's a mixture of both nature and nurture. So a kid's
absolutely.
personality also matters, but also the circumstances they grew up in, what their parents were taught. So
Absolutely. And also for us, it's not just even about kids. Like I find sometimes when I'm understanding all this for my kids, I'm actually doing it for myself as well. I
yeah,
still
yeah,
feel like I don't really know sometimes what I'm doing or what I should be doing. And I feel so that's one of the reasons I love these chats, because you realize you're not
yeah,
alone. Nobody really has
yes,
it figured out. Even someone who
yeah,
looks like they're the top of, I mean, I've met tops of huge big industrialists who seem so
sure,
sorted, and then suddenly
yeah,
over a dinner, they'll tell me, deep down, we always wanted to act. And then I
yeah,
realize they have that kind of thing that's in their
yeah,
head that they never managed to do. This. So everyone has their own. But
exactly,
thank
absolutely.
you so much for joining. And how lovely that one
Thank
can connect like this randomly. So thank you and good luck.
thank you, and I do want to take a moment to tell you that you absolutely inspire me,
Thank
a lot
you.
of us. So keep being you, keep doing everything that you're doing.
Thank you. That's very touching. Thank you. I really feel very grateful. It makes me all teary. Thank you. Now I hope some brands and sponsors watch this and start paying me for something.
I wish so too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. 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 So that was so lovely. And these lives, you never know who's going to come and have some wonderful conversation. Raghav, thank you for saying you should start a podcast. I think everyone would love to listen to you on various topics. That's very kind. I have to admit, I am a complete noob, as the kids would say, when it comes to things like podcasts or anything new. I have to discover them, learn how to do it. I just about figured out lives and Insta and all, and now they moved to Reels. So I will, but it's a nice idea. Thank you so much. Okay, last person to go live with, and then I'm going to let you guys go because I know everyone has a busy Saturday. Also, have to go and do lots of things. I've realized this has gone on much longer than I had thought. So, just last quick live with anyone who wants to say hello, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Kamal Sharma, let's see if this goes through. If not, hi Anand Rai. I love the way you express yourself. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Hi, how are you? आप कहाँ पे हैं? अभी तो सिर्फ दरवाजा दिखाई दे रहा है. हेलो, हाय. अच्छा ठीक है कमल जी। नो प्रॉब्लम नो प्रॉब्लम नो प्रॉब्लम, थैंक यू। आप तो बहुत इनकरेजिंग रहते हैं, मुझे लगातार आप मैसेज भेजते रहते हैं, थैंक यू, बहुत शुक्रिया, थैंक यू। नो नो प्रॉब्लम नो प्रॉब्लम। उधर एक है वो रिवर्स कैमरा करने के लिए, वो दबा दीजिए तो वो वो सेल्फी मोड में आ जाएगा। नो प्रॉब्लम। आप ऐसे फोन को ऐसे पकड़ के हेलो बोलना है, फोन को ऐसे पकड़ के हेलो बोलना। हाँ थैंक यू, वेरी गुड वेरी गुड, हाँ थैंक यू। हाँ ओह नेक्स्ट टाइम नो प्रॉब्लम, आप मैं नेक्स्ट टाइम आपको भी बुलाऊंगी, अच्छा नेक्स्ट सैटरडे। थैंक यू, शुक्रिया। आप फोटो ले लीजिए। थैंक यू, चलो बाय। हाँ साया साया जॉन जॉन इब्राहिम के साथ, थैंक यू। थैंक यू। और आप क्या करते हैं? ड्राइविंग, अच्छा वेरी गुड। और थैंक, आप कहाँ पे है? अच्छा तो मैं तो शर्मा, मेरे दादाजी और दादी जी अपरा में रहते थे, लुधियाना के पास, तो मैं वहां के हूँ। थैंक यू, शुक्रिया। बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, थैंक यू, बाय बाय। थैंक यू, नो प्रॉब्लम। अच्छा नेक्स्ट टाइम, ओके। अच्छा अभी पे अच्छा मैं निकालती हूँ, ठीक है, हाँ थैंक यू थैंक यू, बाय। आपको भी, चलो थैंक यू, बाय बाय। And Roshan is saying such a humble and sincere person. Thank you. I think that's meant for Kamalji. If it's also meant for me, thank you. Now I hope some brand somewhere see this authenticity and do something about it without us having to beg them. Please. Okay, bye. Bye, guys. Bye. Namaste. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Thank you for joining. Tara, tara, tara. Hi. Confidence, exactly, better to focus on what they love to do. Thank you so much, Bindeshi, for your lovely comments. And sorry I wasn't able to look onto the Facebook Live, but I completely agree, encourage them. And sometimes after working hard, if they get some encouragement, like today when Kai got this man of the match, it really encouraged him and us. So thank you so much for joining. Ta-ra, ta-ra, ta-ra. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining. Always a pleasure. Bye, Anand. Bye, Ashish. Bye, Mama. Bye.